All right, this is the Khoodeelaar television channel being broadcast only on the internet. And this is the first edition in almost a week. We didn't broadcast for a few days for technical reasons. This is the first edition. And the other thing is that we shall be keeping this length to a shorter kind of length, again because of technical reasons. So we've got all the Fleet Street dailies, and I should start with the daily bribing Boris graph, Boris Johnson graph. This is the Boris daily bribing Boris Johnson graph. Because the Barclays brothers, for many years, bribed Boris Johnson as publicly known to the tunes of millions of pounds. And that was begun during the period of Johnson being in post as the crooked elected mayor post holder. And this Boris Johnson graph, of course, a daily Boris Johnson bribing Boris Johnson graph, of course, has the picture there, the picture of the American actor Alec Baldwin, who was filming a movie called Rust in New Mexico when they're now talking about a hot gun. Apparently, a blank gun was given to him to shoot. Now, despite the fact that the killing of Helena Hutchins, the Ukrainian-born cinematographer, the details have not been actually published, although the item has been dominating most of the English language Western kind of media news. So as time passes, the full details of the circumstances of this person, Helena Hutchins, being shot dead in New Mexico, will emerge. And we have posted already on Twitter. The Khoodeelaar campaign has posted. This morning we have been starting to post, and we shall continue. Our main theme is that filming or making films with violence graphic violence and killings should be banned forever. And this would be the least of the tributes, real tributes, paid to this young person. We have been saying it. They're not, the Fleet Street papers are not saying it yet, not as far as I can see, nor the rest of the news outlets on the internet. So that's the daily bribing Boris Johnson graph. And the Guardian has got a big front page splash of images promoting Jane Fonda with the heading, "The day I was arrested for trying to save the world," by Jane Fonda, Ted Danson, Rosanna Arquette. Now, the racist Guardian doesn't recognize the word outside, in, as it happens, Hollywood, because in Africa and Asia there are people campaigning to save the world, but they're not recognized, not their campaigns, not their names, not their particular demands or strategies or the. So we shall come to that at another point, but this is just to say that Fleet Street is a racist, brainwashing street, collectively known. The collection of Fleet Street papers, of course, includes the Guardian, the daily bribing Boris Johnson graph, the Times, the Murdoch scum, the Daily Mail, the Daily Mirror, and the I newspaper, and the Beaverbrook Legacy of Lies, the Daily Express titles, and the, of course, the Financial Crimes. And there are many pages of artificiality and corrupt, racist-dominated culture in the Guardian, which is quote, edited by a woman called Catherine Vanity. I call her Vanity and Vain. I shall be talking about the there's a picture of the racist Boris Johnson. It must have been strategically designed to make him look near at least one woman who is He's got a head gear and is suggested by the manufactured image that she is a Muslim, which means that the inciter of hatred against Muslims, including the defiant attack on Muslim women wearing headdress, that is being kind of compensated for and mitigated. That is the brainwashing service that the racist anti-Muslim Guardian is rendering for the racist Boris Johnson. And they've got a piece, of course, about they've got a piece about Helena Hutchins, and they will have more. Point in contrast internationally is that, first of all, the main media outlets, news agencies, which the print media and other news professionals, so-called business operations, trading in news, use, like the AP, the American Associated Press, which is, by the sheer number of its range, is very influential. And Reuters, of course. Reuters is even wider spread than Associated Press. And the AFP, which is the French originated international outlet that actually depends on selling its products in English as well. And then there are other regional outlets, but they're all European or North American based. The only alternative is the Xinhua news agency, which is a Chinese national kind of outlet. Because of the nature of China, Xinhua is, of course, owned by the state. And contrasted with the Xinhua, AFP and the AP and Reuters are not officially owned by the Western regimes, but the agenda, the political agenda, the global agenda that Associated Press, AFP, and Reuters run resemble the agenda, if not necessarily echo the agenda of the Western kind of states. That is making it simple, because the Western states are not all kind of following the same narrative against China. But essentially, the day-to-day reach of the AFP and the American Associated Press and Reuters, that reach collectively is wider and more persistent than anything Xinhua has produced so far. And so therefore the fact that Alec Baldwin is on the front pages of almost all the Western papers and outlets is not confined to the West. It will be spreading to the other parts of the world, Africa and Asia, outside of the Chinese domination. For example, the operations across India, which has got a combined population bigger than Europe, I think. And we shall check that and update on that number. So the Indian news outlets heavily subscribe to the AP and Reuters and AFP, despite the fact that the PTI, Press Trust of India, numerically is a big operation. But the PTI operation fails in comparison to reach even the Indian outlets, which recognize the comparative reliability and authenticity of AP, AFP, and of course Reuters. Now that is part and parcel of the economic and social imperialism that persists and survives the British departure from the subcontinent in August 1947. What I'm saying here is that we have been expressing the same humanitarian solidarity and support for the victim of this shooting, Helena Hutchins. We recognize that, but it is important to also assert that not necessarily the same kind of exactly identical kind of incident of a killing, but many people in the subcontinent and in Asia, outside of the kind of India, many people in India and outside of India are being killed allegedly in accidental kind of incidents. But those killings are not being reported anywhere. And this is not just about this incident involving Alec Baldwin, who has been a career actor for decades. And he actually enhanced his record or his CB by playing Donald Trump. One of the characters or one of the actors that has played Donald Trump in series of parodies enhanced his recognition among the public outside of the USA and also inside the USA. So that has added to the newsworthiness of this particular individual. And this is a question that resonates with most people. This question on the Daily Mirror. And this is the reason why we have said that ban the deadly killing devices and appliances and guns and whatever permanently from movies, sets, and movie making, and ban this presence of these deadly things in the scripts. Now, that is not going to be achieved. That's not going to be kind of heeded. But that should be heeded and that should be done. Because all the evidence so far, all the reports of the last 24 hours that we have accessed in this country, UK, show that this was a very kind of well-regarded professional person, the victim of the killing. And that adds to the fact that people are going to be making more comments around her tragic passing than would have been the case if someone had lost their life but not regarded as highly as Helena Hutchins. We shall talk more about the Alec Baldwin and Helena Hutchins later, not just today, but later, because of all the kind of implications that I have summarized. I have to say that because of the personal nature of Donald Trump's reactions to people critical of him, I think that at this moment, although I haven't come across anything personally hostile or critical of Alec Baldwin by Donald Trump, it's only a matter of time before Donald Trump actually is able to be associated with a kind of insulting, mocking comment or response or reaction to what looks like a tragedy, but it is not impossible that some elements of the evidence is being not published and which will be published later, not necessarily today, but in the course of the process of the investigation. And that may include some kind of sinister motive. That is a possibility, that is not a probability at this stage. If that happens, then of course that will be a kind of gift to Donald Trump in his kind of reaction. He hasn't reacted so far as I can see, but it is only a matter of time before Trump is kind of involved in propaganda that will be based on the so far accident, but propaganda that he desperately will want to exploit and embark on, as long as that propaganda is against Alec Baldwin, one of the actors that undermined Donald Trump quite credibly for long enough. Now, the racist quote within quote British media, because there are outlets, news outlets, media outlets that are not patriotic British. So I'm excluding those. When I say British media, I mean, of course, Fleet Street, which is absolutely racist and patriotic and stupid. And that includes the New SS, that is the New Statesman. New SS is the abbreviation based on the period when it was called New Statesman and Society. The New Statesman is notoriously linked with the Webbs, Sydney and Beatrice Webb, who are credited with founding it. And in common with the other initiatives that they are credited with, Sydney and Beatrice Webb, the contents and the role and the narrative of the New SS is racist, imperialistic, and stupid. Because the New SS has not broken any serious news events or has done any investigation that has affected the state of society or affected the rights of the people, rights of the many. So the Fabian Society and the New SS and similar outlets, the periods of time of the Guardian and the Observer, these are supposed to be not conservative, as in the Conservative Party. But these are conservative. They may say that they are not part of or are affiliated with the Conservative Party, currently fronted by Boris Johnson. But their ideological kind of identity and involvement and role remains as conservatives as can be found in any sphere of so-called political activity in what remains of the UK. On racism, the New SS is as anti-Muslim as Boris Johnson, Jonathan Dimbo, and other racists are and have been. For example, the periodic surfacing of Gordon Brown as a wise person giving opinion about how to better run the government. Gordon Brown is himself a racist who was stupidly defiant while he was in office. When he was asked about British Empire and he was asked about the overdue apology for empire, and he defied It's the same man who Fleet Street gave credit for losing the election in 2010 because of the comment about the bigoted woman that he apparently made. Now, bigoted is a kind of disguised racist word to describe races. It is never the same, and that's the whole point. Racists use the term bigoted when they want to pretend to be themselves against racism and racists. It's like the word woke, W-O-K-E, that the racists have now started to use against people who are opposed to racism and are campaigning against racism, empire, imperialism, etc. What anyone watching this program needs to know that this is the world's exclusive original diagnosis of Fleet Street. But it is much more than just translating or reading or reinterpreting the front pages. Because the BBC, the Sky News, ITV mainly broadcast a daily kind of slot that runs in total just under 1 hour. I think for technical reasons, we shall be concluding this part A at this stage, and we shall come back. It's a promise, we shall come back later, not too late, too much later, but we shall be